We intuitively know how to use a smartphone because they've been around for years, but we can't say the same for smartwatches. In this video, I promise to teach you something you didn't know before. These are my top 10 tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your Apple Watch. Let's get into it. Tip number 10 is to set up Apple Pay on your watch. Now, I think most people do have Apple Pay set up on their watches. For those of you who don't, I would strongly advise that you do. It's so easy to pay for things. You just tap with your wrist and then you just go on with your day. First and foremost, it's fast and easy, but on the other hand, it saves you from taking out your iPhone to pay for things or for fiddling around and trying to find your wallet. Tip number 9 is, did you know that you can silence calls with your palm? When you receive an incoming call on your watch, you just take your palm and you cover it like this. This works in the same way as if you're receiving a phone call on your iPhone. You could press the lock button on the right hand side and it would silence the phone call and the caller doesn't know that you've declined. Tip number 8 is that you can take screenshots on the Apple Watch. Not many people know this. The way to do it is by pressing the digital crown and the side button at the same time. To get this feature set up, you have to go to your Apple Watch settings, you need to scroll to general and then find enable screenshots and turn it on there. Tip number 7 is app views on your Apple Watch. By default, you have the honeycomb view for seeing apps on your Apple Watch, and this is where the apps are like in this array and you have to zoom out and zoom in and go to different corners to find the app that you want. Personally, I find this quite messy and overwhelming, and despite having used this for years, it wasn't until a friend who told me that you can switch to a list view on the Apple Watch that it's so much easier to find things because it's all in alphabetical order and you just use the digital crown to scroll up and down and find exactly what you need to find. So my tip is, if you find that view quite messy and overwhelming like I did, try the list view out and see how you find it. Tip number 6 is, did you know that you can use your Apple Watch as a flashlight? The way to do this is you swipe up from the bottom to see the control center, then you find the flashlight icon and click on that. You can swipe between having a white light like a normal flashlight or a flashing light or a red light. Red light is useful not to break your night vision, and let's say for instance you wake up in the middle of the night and you need to go to use the toilet. You could use a red light to help you move around and go and find the toilet, and then you can go back to sleep without disrupting your sleep as severely as you would with a super bright white light that would just wake you back up. Tip number 5 is, did you know that you can use your Apple Watch to unlock your iPhone or your Mac? The way to set this up is to go onto your iPhone, press the settings app, scroll to Face ID and passcode, and then turn on the option to be able to unlock your device with your Apple Watch. I find this pretty useful because sometimes I find that my watch unlocks my device faster than I can. I unlock my device so many times throughout the day. I've got so many different Apple devices, and it's nice that my Apple Watch, once it's on my wrist and I've entered the passcode once on here, it will unlock everything else. This one's a useful one and it's very convenient to have that sort of little time saver there. I don't really have to think about it once I've got it set up. Tip number 4 is you can clear all the notifications on your Apple Watch, and I never knew how to do this before, and I would individually swipe and sometimes it'd be a list of like 10 notifications. I'd be like going through each and every single one of them. That's not something that you need to do. You can actually press clear all and it just clears all the notifications all at once. I think this is useful because I like to scroll through my list of notifications and then basically see what deserves my attention, reply to the ones that do, and for the ones that don't, just clear them all, get them all out the way, all in one go. And it's nice just to be able to do that in one click. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 3 is called Find My iPhone. Now this isn't the Find My app, it's actually where you use your Apple Watch to help you locate your iPhone. Say if you've lost it in the house or if it's nearby, you need to find it very quickly. Usually I would scroll up on the control center, find that vibrating phone icon and press it, and it will make this sound. Okay, however, something you probably didn't know is if you press and hold that button, it not only triggers the sound, but it also triggers the flashlight at the back of the iPhone. So they both just go off at the same time, and it makes it really nice and easy to find your iPhone when you've lost it. Tip number 2 is when you say, "Hey Siri." You don't actually need to wait after saying "Hey Siri" for the trigger to come up. You can actually say your command in one continuous sentence. So you just need to say, "Hey Siri, what's the weather like today?"
It's currently partly cloudy and 9 degrees.
Okay.
Expect cloudy skies starting in the afternoon.
Okay, so
Temperatures are heading down from 10 degrees.
we get it. Tip number 2 is don't wait or pause after saying "Hey Siri." Tip number 1 is that you can use your Apple Watch to check the battery status of not just the watch, but also your AirPods if they're connected at the same time. Simply tap the battery status complication on the Apple Watch to see the battery life of your watch and your AirPods all in the same view. In fact, it works for any W1 enabled chip Apple device, such as a Beats by Dre pair of headphones. These 10 tips I've given you all help in a very narrow set of use cases. And I'm not saying you're gonna use these every single day. It's just cool to know that your Apple Watch does do it. So that if you're ever in a situation where you might need it, you just think, oh yeah, I can do it on my Apple Watch, and then you just do it on the Apple Watch. However, if you're in a position where you're not even sure whether it's worth going for an Apple Watch in the first place, then you should check out my video I made on why everyone should try an Apple Watch, and there are 3 main reasons that I think everyone can benefit.